Hey, this is Kirk Duncan, and welcome to our webinar here tonight to be able to talk about what you're meant to do with your life, right? Where are you headed? Where are you going? And the impact you're going to make in other people's lives. Looking forward to sharing with you here tonight. I hope you have a pen and paper ready, or maybe you're sitting there with your laptop, or maybe you're just going to be using your phone and taking snapshots of everything I show you here tonight. Either way, I hope you're prepared to be able to sit back and listen to what I have to share with you tonight, because I'm going to make sense of your life and help you make sense of what's going on in your life right now. Tonight is going to have a lot of great insight and a lot of great instruction of what to do. There's good meat here in this experience. Unless you're vegetarian, then there's lots of good vegetables here in this experience here tonight. So very excited to be able to be with you, share with you. I love sharing with people because I know what happens. I know what happens when you're able to find what's missing, or you're able to find that next level of understanding. Literally, your whole world can open up. And that's what happens to me. That's what happens to a lot of people I see who are coached, or have coaches, or who are in personal development, self-improvement. These mind-opening experiences happen. And that's what my intention is here tonight, is that this is going to be worth your time paying attention to what I have for you here this evening. Now, my philosophy has always been, use your gifts and talents to serve others, solve problems, and create success for as many people as possible. I really believe that once we get started in figuring things out and we start to have success, we got to turn around and share it with other people. We got to pass it along. If you agree with me on that, click the raise the hand button there at the bottom of the screen. You see on your little toolbar there? Oh, you found it. There you are. Great job. That was a fast response. Very, very, very cool. And you know, when you find something great and it works for you, it makes sense to turn around and share it with the people who are in your circles of influence. Because once you share that to somebody else, their lives improve, which then comes back around sooner or later to help your life even improve more. So it's like, once you find good, pass it around as fast as possible. Oh, I see a few of you are noticing my camera is not on. There we go. Hey, what's up? There we go. I was wondering why that little green light is not on. Oh, super fun. Okay, so let's just dive in the deep end, right? Let's just go there. Let's dive in the deep end in what we're talking about here. Now, we got to start with some understanding about the way you look at life. Now, I don't know what you have in your point of view as you look at life, but I'm going to walk you through some principles that have really helped me in navigating through my life and finding success and serving people in the best way possible. So let's start right here. There's two different places, or two different worlds that you exist in. There's what happens under your skin, and then there's what happens outside of your skin. You have a world underneath your skin. It's your own personal experiences, your own thoughts, your own feelings, all the chemicals that move through your body. All of these activities are going on underneath your skin. And then on the outside of your skin, there's this whole other world. It's interacting with people, interacting with things, trying to, balance your life, coordinate with people all around you. And that's the outside. So throughout this evening, you're going to hear me talk about the inside and the outside, or the under your skin and the outside of your skin. Now, here's the part that I don't know if you understand this yet or not, but are these connected? Is what happens underneath your skin and what happens on the outside of your skin, are these two worlds connected, or are they two completely separate worlds? Is what's happening underneath your skin only for you to recognize? Like, nobody else can see it. Nobody else can see it or hear it or sense it. Or does your inside world show up in the outside world sooner or later? I don't know. This is a really important part to understand about development and improvement in life, is how these two sides of your life actually interact. Do they interact, and how do they interact? Okay, so let's go here. The outside world has a big influence on you, doesn't it? It does. It has a big influence on how you feel. This is from other people. This is from life events, from the weather, from circumstances all going around you. It can have an impact on you. In fact, growing up as a kid, you had a lot of influence from your surrounding, from your area that you lived in, from your culture, from your environment, all had a direct impact on your development. Now, when you got older, did that all of a sudden change? No. So growing up as a kid, other people impacted you, your thoughts, your perceptions, your beliefs, your understanding of life. All of that impacted you all the way growing up. So when you got older, just because you now can think on your own, it doesn't mean that the outside world stopped influencing you. So good to notice. We're going to talk about that more as we go along. Now, the other side of it, on the other side of the screen here, can your inside world influence your outside world? Can your thoughts actually influence, meaning that it can change something that's going to happen on the outside of you? Can your feelings influence what's going on around you? So here's something to consider. There are some people who still are in the phase that's on the left-hand side of the screen, where the outside world is affecting them. And then there's a small percentage of people who actually are using their inside world, their thoughts and their feelings, to influence what's going on around them. Now, if depending on the group of people that I bring this up in front of, I've had people literally say that is just crazy talk, that your inside world can actually influence the things around you. But wait a minute, let's consider this just for a moment. What about a person who has a bad attitude? Can they influence other people with a bad attitude that's inside them? Yes, they can. Can somebody with a good attitude inside of them, can that affect other people? Yes, it can. So what does that tell us? It tells us that what goes on inside of us directly influences what goes on around us. Now, again, there's only a small percentage of people who actually use this influence to be able to improve their lives. Very rarely do you find people who are intentionally using their thoughts and their emotions to improve their life and actually improve their development, because they don't know how. They don't know what to do. They don't know the steps. They don't know the techniques of how to do that. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, because you could be very involved with the improvement of your life. Instead of waiting for things to happen, you could cause them to happen. You could create them to happen. Now, I don't know about you, but to cause things to happen, to create things to happen, sounds like a better way to live instead of waiting for things to happen. Now, I've been coaching for over 17 years, and I've been doing live seminars, live events. I've been doing all kinds of things for the last 17 years, and I have definitely seen these two different groups of people. The one group who waits to see when it's going to happen, and then the other group, the small group, that is actually causing things to happen. And once you start to learn how to cause and create things to happen with your inside world to affect your outside world, you don't go back to the old way of thinking, because it's a higher level development. And I really hope that that's the kind of person I'm talking to right now. It's you. Are you looking for a higher level of development, a higher way of using who you are to create goodness around you, to create better results for you and as many people as possible. I hope you're that kind of person, because I'm going to talk to you like you are that kind of person, a person who wants to influence your environment more than your environment influencing you. Like you are the kind of person who wants to cause change, wants to cause order, wants to cause a togetherness, a connectedness. Like you're that person, the person who knows you can cause good to happen. Because wow, what if you could do this and you could do this 24/7 and you could be this kind of person? Other people who don't know how to do this, you could influence them for good. You could make it a better place. And we all know that these kind of people are important to be in the world today, with all the chaos and the turmoil and all of the absolute crazy things that are going on in the world. We need people who can influence their environment and to be able to cause these great things to happen, not sit around waiting for it to happen. Now, you heard me bring up old or outdated advice. Like, are you still believing these old ways of thinking? Now, there is here a very outdated type of advice. And I'm going to just go through this really quick because it's something else that's going to come up along the way tonight as I'm walking you through this training, is that some advice that people are following is really outdated. It's good, it's just outdated. Now, it's the same thing as like an old cell phone. It still is a cool cell phone. It's just outdated. It's just slower. It's missing some of the cool features. And it's like anything. Once it gets outdated, it's still useful, but it's not really the fastest thing you can use right now. So here's some outdated advice. Many times when people go to give advice to each other, they tell them, if you want to have good results, what do? Well, you got to work hard. That is good advice. It's also outdated advice. Now, we're not going to get rid of it. It's just incomplete. I was told this when I was growing up. If you ever want to be successful, Kirk, you have to work hard. Now, I don't know how a person can work hard when you have 24 hours in a day. I guess you can sweat until you completely sweat all of your juices out of your body. But working hard is kind of a weird term, because it's like, working hard is, what does that mean? Well, you have to be always exhausted, always depleted, always tired, burning every candle at every end. Like, that's it? You just have to work hard? I don't understand that, but yet it's advice that's given. And there's still a lot of people who believe that this is what it takes to be able to create results. Is that why there's over 80% of the people in the United States who are financially struggling? Because they're all trying to work hard? Because you hear that everywhere. Oh, these are good people who are working hard. But why are they not making it? Because this is incomplete. And that's something I'm going to touch on throughout the evening, is what is incomplete in what's going on in our lives of development. Now, another way to layer on this to even upgrade this advice is to say, hey, get a good education and work hard. Okay, that's even better. It's less outdated, right? Get a good education and work hard. Is this complete? No, it's not. It's not complete. Well, what else is missing? Oh, well, you need to develop better routines and systems and processes for your life so you can be more efficient. Okay, that's cool. And get a good education and work hard. Is that complete? No. Will it make you more successful and do better? Of course. Any business, any family, any marriage, any relationship that has routines, systems, and processes, of course they're going to be more efficient. They're going to be more organized. They're going to get more done. So they actually are going to be a lot more successful. But is this complete? No, it's not. What else is missing is people skills. Got to learn people one way or another. We got to figure out people. Not that you have to go study all the personality tests out there, but to understand people definitely improves the process. It improves the process, because if you don't have people skills, you are going to cause problems with people and not know how to deal with difficult people. So this makes almost a complete set of a great advice, but there's something else that's missing. And it tends to be the last thing people think about after they have tried everything and they're still trying to put together their results. It's like it's the last thing that they look at. Well, it's the last thing that I looked at. And nobody gave me this advice. Like, nobody gave this to me until I was in my worst situation in my life ever, at the bottom of the barrel. Then somebody brought this advice to me, which changed everything. Everything. I had been trying all of these, but I didn't know about this one. And when they shared this advice with me, and they said, you have to pay attention to what's going on inside your mind. I was like, what is this? This sounds like hokey pokey. This sounds like some kind of science fiction thing. And they're like, no, what goes on inside your mind determines what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. It determines everything. And then they taught me about conscious and subconscious. And I was like, what is this? Did I miss this in school? Like, where? Well, I don't remember getting this in my high school education. Maybe I just wasn't listening. Maybe it's only reserved for higher levels of college and university. I don't know. Somehow I did not get this. And when I was 35 years old is when I was introduced to the mind. This is the missing piece of advice for success. Any guru you talk to, any global trainer, any massively successful person is going to tell you, you have to get inside your mind and master your mind. Every guru I've met, ever since I've learned this, and every guru I've ever sat in front of, every class I've ever taken by global teachers and global leaders, it's taught you need to pay attention to what's going on inside your mind. Now, I don't know how I missed it, but when I first read through the Bible, right? I read through the Bible, I missed all the references to the mind, about how important it is to manage your thoughts and manage your mind. I completely didn't see those. But once I got into personal development and started studying the conscious and subconscious, the next time I'm reading scripture out of the Bible, I start to find all these references to the mind. And it's like, wait a minute, even God is saying, pay attention to your mind. And it's like, why is this not talked about at the dinner table? Why is this not talked about when you're out to dinner with your friends? Why is it not talked about when you're sitting around the campfire? Why is it not talked about? Interesting. I think the reason it's not talked about is because people don't know how to explain it. Yet it is the number one thing of your life to learn how to manage, because this decides what you do and what you don't do. This decides if you start and if you can stop. It's everything. But yet, whenever there's somebody who's having a problem, guess what they're told? You just need to work harder. You just need to get a better education. Yeah, you got to just learn how to deal with people. Rarely do I ever hear advice from somebody saying, you know what? Dive into your mind, figure out where that sabotage thought is at. You just don't hear it. And I've been doing training and coaching and doing seminars for 17 years, and still it's the last thing that's talked about. So I'm pointing this out to you. If there's anything you get from this conversation here tonight, is this: if you are not studying this right here, if you're not reading about it, learning about it, trying to understand it in whatever level you can, you are going to have struggles you will never be able to figure out. This is the advice I would give you, that this is the most important part to focus on. Yes, still learn about people skills. Yes, still learn about routines. And yes, get an education. Yes, work hard. But this is what's going to determine everything. It just is. When things don't work out, You know who they blame? They blame God. They blame their spouse, their kids, and God. Oh, and the government. They blame all those entities for when things don't work out. But I never hear somebody say, and I know I said the word never, I've never heard somebody say, it's my subconscious and I need to be able to figure out my sabotages and my subconscious from my past. I mean, that's like non-existent in the normal public conversation that's out there. But this is the big thing. It's everything, because it's what determines everything. It's the center of your world. Everything that goes on around you all comes from what goes on inside your mind. Everything's connected to it. All your relationships, all your successes, your money, your time management, your relationship with your kids, your siblings, with men, with women, with food, with God, with things, with your education, with your fitness, with your work. It is the center of everything, which is your mind. It's what you think, it's how you think, it's how you talk, it's how you act, it's how you feel, it's everything. Now, if I could go back a long time ago, like 30, 40 years, and I could drill into my head how important this is, I would do that for sure, because it determines everything. Because you see, inside a person's mind, if a person sees themselves as being small, they run into walls everywhere they go. They're always running into walls. They're bumping into stuff and they can't get to where they want to go because of the way they see themselves inside their mind. But if you can teach the person how to change the perspective they have of themselves, they now step over those walls and they make progress. The wall didn't change. It's still the same size. But their perspective or perception they have of themselves changed everything. And where did that happen? Inside the mind, the way they thought about themselves. If you think down about yourself, you will go down. And now everything's a struggle. Everything's hard. Everything stops you. Everything just puts a halt to everything. If you think big about yourself and you have that high level of self-esteem, nothing can stop you. So it's like, why are we not talking to teenagers about this? Why are we not talking to spouses about this? Why is this not the big topic of like, what are you doing inside your head? What are you doing in there? Because a lot of people are saying, what's up with my brain? But they don't really learn how to change it, what to do different. So this is a big deal, because before I learned about my mind, I was about this big and everything was gigantic. I couldn't move anywhere. I couldn't do anything. I was so stuck. I could not do anything because I was thinking so small of myself. In fact, I degraded myself in my mind constantly. Negative talk about yourself eats away at your self-image. Negative talk, degrading talk, deteriorating talk just eats away at you and makes you small. This person gives up after a while. They can't even get anywhere. They can't even do anything. But a person who changes the way that they talk about themselves and the way they think about themselves can literally alter how they perform. They can change it. That's the cool thing about this, is like, wait a minute, hold on a second. We got to think this through. Like, are you serious? If I just get a hold of my brain and I'm like, okay, we got to change what's going on in here, I can change this? Yeah, this is big. This is gigantic. This is what changed my life, where I was and where I was headed. Oh, so amazing. Because really, I mean, going through school, we had report cards, right? But what about our report card about life? How are we doing? Oh, you know what? Adults don't want to know this. They always want to know what the kids' report card is. They always want to know, oh, how you doing in school? But how about we ask each other, How are you doing in school? How are you doing in school with identity and love and forgiveness and health and direction and relationships and time and goals and money? What's your grades for these subjects? Adults don't talk about this. You know what adults say? I'm fine. I'm good. They always smooth it over with frosting. They're always like, yeah, everything's good. And I just want to say to somebody, can I see your report card? That's what I want to say. I want to say, can I see your report card? Because you're lying. You don't have everything good, but everybody tries to make it seem like everybody's okay. And you might be doing good in some areas, and then you might be failing in other areas. And do you really want a C- in the category of money? Wouldn't you rather have an A+? And what about relationships? Wouldn't you rather have an A+? What about forgiveness and love? Wouldn't you want an A+? Well, there's a really good chance that you don't keep score on the subjects of life. You just don't, because you don't want to know. Because as long as you don't know, you can pretend like everything's okay. That way, you don't have to change. You don't have to. Because you know who has to change? The other person. This is the person who has to change, right? Anybody who causes an issue, they're the problem. Yep, that's where all the problems are. It's a great way to just blame and come up with excuses is, oh, the problem? Oh, it's them. Because that way you don't have to change anything inside your mind. Nothing at all. You don't have to do anything. It's a great way to get away with it in life is to go, oh, I have an issue. It's them. It's my spouse. It's my kids. It's God. It's the government. It's the neighborhood. I mean, just, that's what a lot of people do. I'm not saying you do it. I'm not saying you do it. I'm just saying it happens. That if something has to be fixed, it has to be the other person. So what is your score for your report card? Are you keeping score? How are you doing? And if you're not doing well, what do you work on next? Well, I have a suggestion. The center of you. And that's your mind. That's this thing right here. Because money is connected to your mind. All these subjects are all connected to your mind, the way you see it, the way you know things, the way how you're doing things. And so we come back to the mind. And the mind is called mindset. What is your mind set at? Did you know that there's a setting for all of these? Just like when you go to put a load of laundry in, you do a setting for the washing machine and you turn it to a particular dial and then you hit go and it's on a particular setting. Your mind works the same way. And that's where mindset comes from, is that your mind is set on a particular level of income. Your mind is set to be a certain number of minutes late. Your mind is set to treat people a certain way. Your mind is set to eat certain foods and to avoid other foods. Your mind is set for your weight, for your health, for your education, your connection to God. It's all set. You have settings in your head. And so does your spouse, so does your friends, so does your siblings, so does your mom and dad. Everybody has settings. And based upon those settings, that's what you get. Now, I think a smart thing to learn how to do is to change that setting. That makes sense. And when you learn how to change that setting, you change the result. You change the results of how it turns out, because now you're at a new setting. So let's just pick money, for example. Let's say right now you are set at $1,500 a month and you wish it was at $5,000 a month. You know what people say? Oh, well, if I'm going to get 5,000, I have to get a new job. So the first thing people think is, oh, I got to do something different on the outside of my skin if I'm going to have 5,000. So they don't do anything under their skin. They don't change anything in their mind. So their mind is set at 1,500. They try to go find a job to earn 5,000, but their mind is still set at 1,500. So the mind is set at 1,500. They go looking for a job, and guess what they can't find? A job. Why can't they find a job? Because their mind is set for a particular income. Let's say you want to lose weight. You want to lose 20 pounds. Well, have you ever tried to lose 20 pounds or let go of 20 pounds? Good luck, because your mind is set for the weight you're at. It's a setting. And so you can't change your weight until you change that setting. Because if you lose the 20 pounds, well, as soon as you back off, zoom, it comes back. And you stay at the same weight. Same thing with love, same thing with forgiveness, same thing with food, same thing with God, same thing with time management. Same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing. So the mind is everything. It has settings. And that's good, and it's also bad. Because if you don't know how to change the settings, then you don't change. And you stay right where you're at. And you know what that's called? That's called being stuck. When you're stuck, is because you're trying to change and not change your mind. You're trying to change everything around you, but you're not changing anything on the inside. Now, I'm going to go back to this, because this is what people don't realize, is that there's this part of your life that's called under your skin. And then there's this other part called outside your skin. And everybody who tries to make changes outside of their skin first. And they work really hard trying to make changes outside their skin and thinking it's going to happen, and it doesn't work, and it doesn't work, and it doesn't work. And then finally people give up because they never got under their skin to change the setting in their mind. And they don't know how. No one's ever taught them. And do you notice that in school, it's not talked about? Why is there such a cover-up on how to change your mind? Why is it so secretive about how to change your mind? It's not hard. You have to do particular things to change your mind. But if you don't change your mind under your skin, what's going on around you will drift back to where you previously were at. That's what happens. For example, some people try to be positive about money, but it doesn't work, does it? It doesn't work. Just being positive about money doesn't really cause it to keep showing up. Because if on the inside of you, you have some glitches about money, then your brain is going to keep money away from you because it's a mindset. It just happens. Oh, but since people don't know how to change, they're just going to blame people and use people as excuses and use organizations and leaders and all kinds of other people as the blame and excuses for why they keep having problems. But the problem really is on the inside. That's where the glitch is. So when I have a problem and I can't move forward and I can't change, I take the smarter route by going to my mind first. I got to go here first, under my skin first. I got to start making the change in my mind first. Then I take action on the outside. Because I've learned if you don't do it in that order, it is painful and it takes forever for anything to change. It's so painful and you know it. You know all the things you're trying to change and it's not working because you went here. You went here and you're not going here. So what is this called? You know, the whole changing of the mind. What's it called? Well, it's called mindset. That's what you're doing. But what I'm doing for you right now is called coaching. I am coaching you. I'm informing you. I'm making you aware. I'm showing you what's happening. This is a coaching experience. I am being your coach right now. And I believe one of the reasons why you showed up here to listen to this is because you are actually an authentic coach. I'm going to put that on the table right now. The only reason you were drawn to listen to this video and to watch me right now is because you have inside of you some gifts and talents that could naturally help other people in their lives. Sure, I'm coaching you right now, but if you learned what I know, you would turn right around and coach people too. You would. I know that for sure. You would do that. You literally would do that. Because you're that kind of person. Because if you showed up here, you're like me. And if you're like me, that's what happens is you get a little bit of understanding, and then you're like, man, I just want to help people. Okay, I'm zooming through my slides here because I wanted to show you a slide that represents you. Let me just show you. Oh, it's right here. I prepared a lot of slides for you. Okay, so here's you. You're learning tonight, and I know what you're going to do. You're going to teach somebody. You know what that's called? Coaching. You're coaching people. You like to learn. You like to figure things out. You want to know the inside of how things really work. And so you're going to learn, then you're going to share it with a person. And guess what's going to happen? That person is going to get inspired to share it with somebody they know. And then sooner or later, it gets down to the kiddos, and the kiddos learn. And then the kiddos share it with another kiddo, and then that kiddo shares it with an adult. That's what's going to happen. Just kind of lay it out to you. It's kind of a big thing to think about, but I'm sharing with you, then this is you. And look what you and I are going to cause from this webinar tonight. Isn't that cool? Like, this many people are going to be impacted because you're here listening. And what if you became more intentional and you wanted to teach another person? Well, then there's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people behind that person that's going to get affected too. And then it just multiplies. So this is me teaching you, and then this is you teaching somebody else. It's so good. It's so good. So I don't know if you've ever thought about teaching, helping people, coaching, mentoring. I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but if you are teachable, oh boy, do I have a lot I could teach you. A lot over the last 17 years. I could show you that you could turn around and help other people out, especially the teenagers, especially the youth, to help them with simple concepts and help them understand what's going on in their head and how it's affecting them if they're going to be up against a wall or if they're going to be unstoppable. It's them. It's what's going on inside their head, right? And so this is what we're talking about here tonight is huge. It's really, really important. So I'm still, sharing with you some principles here about how this is all working, and it keeps coming back to what's under your skin, what's outside your skin. And the tendency of people is that when they need something to change, they go find another job. And usually people say, well, for things to change, I have to make more money. And it's like, no. Is that the first equation in here? No. For things to change, you have to change your mindset. And if you don't know how to do that, learn how to do it. Most important thing, learn how to change your mindset. Really, really important to be able to do that. Okay, one more thing, and then I'm going to jump into another side of this conversation here and be able to help progress us here about you and your life and what you're doing. Here's something else that's really interesting that's happening a lot. It's called a mind block. So this I right here, this I is inspiration. This C is consciousness, and this is subconscious. So inspiration, conscious, and subconscious. So you get inspired, then you want to take action. So consciously, you're like, you know what? I'm going to act on this inspiration because you got this big idea and you want to take action. So you start to take action, but then your subconscious programming or your subconscious mindset setting isn't set for that. So your subconscious goes, no. And it throws up a wall. And then your efforts come up against a mind block that came from your subconscious. And in your subconscious, this is where your mindset is. That's where the settings are. So all those settings are in the subconscious. And if your settings don't agree with your new idea, your subconscious just throws up a wall and blocks you. And when I say a wall, I'm talking a wall. I have people all the time tell me, Kirk, I feel like I've hit a wall. And when they say that, I then go back to this diagram and I go, I know what happened. That means that their subconscious has a mindset program that did not agree with their new inspired idea and threw a wall up and stopped them. You probably have inspiration like loaded in your head, like probably multiple things you have been inspired to do. And your consciousness is trying. You're like, oh, I really got to do this. I really got to do this. But what happens is your mindset says no. Wow. So what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means is that if God is inspiring you, your subconscious is telling God no. What? Your subconscious is blocking you. You know how you try? You keep trying, like, oh, I got to start that. Oh, I got to do that. And you keep getting these inspirations because you keep wondering, what should I do with my life? What should I do? What should I do? And so you get these ideas, but you don't take action. I know why you don't take action, because your mindset is outdated. It has not had its newest upgrade. How many times has your brain had an upgrade? You're probably still functioning off of old software that was loaded when you were like 9 years old. That's what happens to us as adults. We live our life from a 12-year-old software in our head. And we can't actually go do these inspirations because our mindset is locked down and it throws up a wall. Now, just take a moment and confess. If you have this happening to you right now, click the raise the hand button in your Zoom bar. Just give me a heads up if you know what I'm talking about with this, right? It's like, oh, so frustrating. But I know how it goes. You go to bed thinking to yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to take action. Tomorrow. And so maybe you really push hard to get through that mind block. And then you know what happens? Your subconscious just makes this wall. Let me see if I can get it. Makes this wall even bigger. And then it pulls you back and you can't get past the mindset. That's what you're battling. That's what everybody battles, is mindset. What is it? What is your mindset? What is your mindset at? Well, look around. Look at the condition of your car. Look at the condition of your bank account. Look at the condition of your health. Look at around. It tells you where your mindset is at. If you ever want to know where your mindset is, look around. Look at your relationships. Look at how you treat people. Look how easily you get triggered. Look how you manage time. Notice if you're ever on time. How late are you? That tells you mindset. And no, you're not busy. Everybody uses, oh, I'm just so busy. And that's such an excuse. Such an excuse. I'm busy. Yeah, because of my kids, I'm late. Because of my spouse, I'm late. It's not because of me. So it's an excuse. Keep using the excuse. I mean, it's not going to change anything. Nothing's going to change until you get inside your head and change your mindset. Nothing's going to change. It's not going to change. So all of this that you keep working on, you keep trying, but just so you know what's actually really stopping you. Now, I don't know if you believe that there's a devil or not. Like there's angels and devils, right? Like a devil on one shoulder, an angel on the other, those cartoons and those things. But if the devil senses that you are getting blocked, he likes to jump in and fuel that fire. He likes to accentuate that and exaggerate that. And then he likes to really tempt you to blame it on somebody else. Do you know why the devil wants you to blame it on somebody else? Because if you blame it on somebody else, you're going to make it about them, that they have to change before your life ever will get better. Do you see what the devil's doing? The devil doesn't even want you to know about mindset. He wants you to think it's the other person. He wants you to think it's God. He wants you to think it's your spouse, your kids, your siblings, your parents, your neighbors. He wants to make you think it's somebody else. Because as long as it's somebody else, you won't change. You're waiting for them to change. It's such a trap. It is so twisted, but it's a very well-designed trap that the devil has for us. Now, if you didn't know about these things, it makes it really hard to live because you're always wondering, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong. It's just what happens. And you could probably take the whole what's wrong with you off the table and just go, wow, it's my mindset. So now you actually have an answer. That's what I want to give you. That's a very important part of this conversation here tonight is I want to give you that answer. It's mindset. Now, you're not using that as an excuse. You're using it as an actual answer. So when somebody says, why are you late? You can say, it's my mindset. I have to work on it. Wow. That's different. People will be like, what? Mindset? What's that? Well, you see, my mind is set to be at a particular late time, and I keep being 10 minutes late. And it's not going to change until I change my mindset. You're going to baffle people. They're going to be like, what are you talking about? Because they're waiting for you to blame somebody. Or somebody says, why don't you have any money? Well, it's my mindset. Why are you still upset at family? Well, because my mindset is set for confusion and chaos amongst other people. Why are you eating junk food all the time? It's mindset. You can go around the whole world here and pretty much figure it's mindset. Now, we don't use that as an excuse. We use it as an answer because it's true. That's what's happening. So there's not anything wrong with you. It's just that you have a mindset that is set for a particular way of thinking. And if you try to think a different way, the subconscious, where the mindset programs are at, comes up and says, no, we're going to hold to this. That's what happens. So why do I share this with you? Because when I was 35 years old, I hit rock bottom and I had the question of what's up with my brain. And I was trying to change everything around me and I could not figure it out. I got so depressed, so depressed that I actually was questioning why I was alive. It was like, really, like, why am I alive? I can't do anything right. Everything I try doesn't work. God doesn't love me. Nobody likes me. I'm making everybody upset. I'm broke. I'm fat. I'm grumpy. I hate myself. Other people don't like me because I'm just a jerk. And I'm hitting rock bottom. And then the devil steps in and says, yeah, you should kill yourself. Here, this is what you do. And the devil laid out all the steps. He did. He literally told me all the steps, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It wasn't hard to figure out how to do it. He was right there with all the instructions, very supportive in the whole process. Very creepy, but very real. And thank goodness my son came home early from school one day and he stopped the whole thing. He interrupted the whole thing. And then I woke up. I woke up to how crappy my life was. I woke up to I got to figure this out because the devil almost got me to take my life. And that ticked me off bad. I was like, how's a good church-going boy like me get completely tricked by the devil? How come I did not see that? I was mad. It's like the enemy just went right into the castle and literally just walked right up to me and was helping me kill myself. It's like, how did that happen? It made me mad. And I'll be straight with you. I'm still mad. I've turned this into a personal mission to teach as many people as possible how to wake up your brain. how to become conscious about what's going on in your subconscious. Because if you don't know what's going on, you could get yourself in a lot of trouble. And you're having unnecessary struggles. There are struggles that are necessary, but there are struggles that are unnecessary, that are self-imposed because you don't know how your subconscious works. And so this is why I teach. This is why I help, because I learned, I got woke up. I started figuring this out, and it started changing my life at bigger and bigger and bigger steps. And it's like, I got to tell as many people as possible. And I'm not some, like some college degree person. I'm just passionate about waking you up so you can go wake other people up. So you can be conscious of your subconscious, so you can make changes, so you can change your mindset. Because if you can change your mindset and you can teach somebody else how to change their mindset, then we can make changes that are permanent. Because once you change the mindset, it now is set for a new thing. It doesn't go back. You can change. Any time of your life, you can change. Any scientist once told us, once you turn 12, 14 years old, you're the same forever. Now they've come out and said, no, the brain has neuroplasticity. You can change at any time. It's like, duh. It's like, thanks for coming up with that. We already knew that. So my passion and what I've been doing for 17 years in coaching and training people, for 17 years, I've been inspiring people about what goes on in their subconscious. And where did I learn this stuff? Street smarts. Raw, in the trenches, street smarts of battling my own brain, of dealing with my own stuck, my own walls, my own mindset, and making those changes, altering my mindset, and then turning around and helping a few people here and helping a few people there. And then it grew. It went from helping people in my home to teaching classes, to being on TV, to teaching with my wife, to doing large seminars. It just grew because people were using what I was doing and their lives were changing too. And then they brought their friends. And now people are calling me a coach and a mentor and a trainer. And it's like, I'm a Kirk. You can call me a coach. You can call me a mentor, I guess. I'm just going to help anybody I can. I want to teach people how to do this in a way that you can turn around and help somebody else. This is where we need to become educated. We need to become savvy in this. We need to become very, very, very conscious of paying attention to what's going on in our subconscious. Because if we don't pay attention, the very inspiration you're getting, you can't even do. Because your subconscious is whooping you. You can't even do it. You have a backlog of inspiration you're not even doing. And then you keep praying, God, please help me. And he's like, I did. He's like, I did. I gave you the answer. I know, but it's so hard. I gave it to you. Do it. I can't. Just do it. I can't. And so now you've got all these answers stacked up at the top of your head. And you consciously are trying to do it, but your subconscious is like, no, I'm boss. And it's blocking you. Don't you think this would be important to figure out? What about your kids? I don't know if you have kids, but if you had kids, your kids are dealing with this. Your spouse is dealing with this. That's why they're frustrated, because they're trying to do stuff and they can't. Your friend who's depressed, your friend that's really discouraged, it's because they have a mind block and they have no idea what it is. Everybody's asking this question: what's up with my brain? What's wrong with me? It's like, nothing's wrong with you. It's just you don't understand the functions. If you don't understand the functions, you don't know what to change. You can tell I get a little wound up about this because it's a big deal. It's everything. Anytime I hear somebody struggling, it's like, I know why. So I've been doing this for 17 years, going on 18, and we'll be going on to 19 and 20. This is my life mission. to teach people, to help them. Now, when I was teaching seminars, live seminars before COVID hit, we were doing a live seminar every single month. Every single month. And we were doing 17 of these a year. A lot of seminars, big seminars, one a month, 3-day seminar. And you know what happened in these seminars? I'll show you what happened in these seminars, is that people got inspired because I taught them about the power of imagery. I taught them about the power of language. I taught them about the power of emotion and how when you bring all three of those together, your personal power activates. Because now you get an alignment. Imagery, language, and emotion is what every human being has. But when these functions are not working and they're not in harmony with each other, a person's life is difficult, really difficult. So I taught them this. I would teach these people at these large seminars and I'd say, hey, this is what you do. And I would give them step-by-step instructions, step-by-step instructions. Any class I was teaching is like, okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. I'm showing them what to do. And then as they did the steps, you know what happened? They pulled their life together. The pieces came together. And it was fantastic because when you get in order on the inside, your life comes to order. And whatever your personal mission is, whatever you've been called to do, it starts to make more sense because the pieces come together. And then this is the big piece. This is the huge one, is what is this? This is your gift. This is what you came to earth with. When you were born, you have a particular gift inside you. Every single one of us has a gift, a very unique part of who we are. And it's not a gift for us. It's a gift for us to use to help other people. It's a gift. It's a special, unique thing that we have. Everybody has a gift, a particular type of gift. Everybody's different in some ways and a lot of unique, similar ways. But we have this unique gift that we're to use as we go to serve and help other people. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help each other. But what's cool is when I would hold these seminars and I would teach people and I would help people, their lives would come together. And as their life came together, guess what happened? They got motivated. They got motivated to go teach. They would walk out of the seminar on day one, calling their friends going, I just learned something really good. You've got to do this. So here's my method to my madness here. My plan is to teach you and teach others what's going on so that you will turn into a teacher. That's my plan, is I'm going to turn you into a teacher so that you'll teach somebody. Because if you can teach one person, that one person is going to share with another person, and then the kiddos are going to get it. And then somebody else's kiddo's parent or grandparent is going, aunt or uncle is going to hear from that kiddo. This whole chain reaction is going to happen if I can turn you into a teacher, that you end up sharing something from tonight. I don't know if it's this you're going to share, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this. I don't know what you're going to share, but I'm like putting it on the table for you because I'm going to turn you into a teacher, because we're talking about real problems. These are real problems. People being inspired and frustrated because they can't do them. People who are trying to earn more money and they can't. People who are having relationship issues because there's so much blame and excuses. People that are failing on their report cards and they have no idea what to do. People who are shrinking themselves with their language and their thoughts. All of these challenges and these issues are real, and they're happening in every home. So what do we need in this world? What we need in this world is more teachers. We need more teachers who talk about this. Because there's kids that are struggling. There are kids who are having very, very big difficulties and they don't know what to do. There are people who are stressed. There's couples who are fighting. There's divorces happening like crazy. There are businesses closing down. There are men that are imploding. There are women who are completely devastated with sadness and hurt. So much confusion, so much loss of motivation, so many people giving up, so many people being depressed, and way too many suicides. Way too many suicides. We ought to be like knocking on people's doors saying, can I help you? So you don't cross the line. Suicide has gone through the ceiling. It's terrible, the stats that are happening with suicide. And everything else that leads up to it is terrible. But then we just go on acting like everything's fine, and it's not. It's not. When I go to church and I look around, it's like more than 75% of these people are struggling. When I go out to a movie or I'm out somewhere in public where I see a bunch of people, it's like more than 75% of these people are massively struggling. 3 out of 4 people are massively struggling. Massively. What we need is more teachers, people who care enough to say something, people who care enough to do a webinar, who have the guts to do a webinar, who have the guts to post on social media, who have the guts to make a YouTube video, who have the guts, the courage to do it. We need more teachers. Teachers that know what to teach. Motivation is good. That's fine. Motivation is good, but we need mindset training. What do the people need to do to make the change? What exactly do they need to do? I mean, sure, motivate me and inspire me, but what am I supposed to do? People need more step by step. They need step-by-step instructions. When people go to change, they end up working a lot on the surface. And they don't know everything else that's below the surface. There's roots in every one of us. There's deep roots of our patterns, our habits, the way we think about ourselves, but it's unseen. They don't know how to get there. If you have ever felt called, and when I say called, it's like a feeling. It's like you have this feeling that I need to go help people. And maybe you have had the feeling like you want to help women, or you want to help men, or you want to help teenagers, you want to help entrepreneurs. But like when I say a call or a calling, it's like something speaking to you and it's saying, do something. Do something. It's like the inspiration is coming to you that says, do something. And it sits there in the back of your head saying, are you going to do something? And you're like, well, I really could, but I just don't know how. And I can't, I didn't do it today. See, if some of this inspiration is you are going to be helping people, or you have never told anybody, like you keep it like this private little secret to you of like, oh yeah, I just, I really want to help people, but I'm not going to tell anybody because I can't get going. This right here, I can help you with. I can help you activate your consciousness to get through that wall. and get you teaching people. And if you don't know what to teach, I can teach you what to teach. I can coach you on what to teach. If you're that kind of person, you're like, man, I really feel like I need to do this. I'm really that person. Then I'm speaking to the right person tonight. It's you. This is you. And your mind blocks are not meant to be there forever. Your mind blocks are only there because you don't know what to do. But if these inspirations are stacking up on your mind, and you're being called to teach, you're being called to do something, you're being called, or you feel that feeling that you need to do something, then I'm glad we met tonight. So I could show you what's happening to you. And I could also point this out. This is you. This is you. And there are a lot of people on the planet who need help. There are not enough well-trained coaches on this planet. Not enough. Even though on social media or places like that, it makes it look like there's like a ton, but 80% of those are inactive coaches. They're not even doing anything. They say they're a coach so they can get some kind of, like, oh, look at them, they're a coach, but you go talk to them, they're not coaching people. They're not doing anything. They're just putting their name out there, but they're not actually doing anything. I want to work with people. I want to help people become great coaches. And I know I'm assuming that you want to be a coach, but I'm just going to assume that this is you. And maybe you don't want to be a coach. You just want to inspire people. That's cool. That's cool. But if I could get a hold of you, if I could talk to you, I would be speaking directly to you and saying, okay, this is what you do. This is how you get started. This is what you teach. This is what you teach first. And this is what you teach second, to be able to empower people to change their mind. It's so good. It's so good. So here's a crazy thing that happened. I was at one of my events and this person raised their hand and I chose them and they stood up and they asked a question and then I answered it. And then when I answered it, the person said, that's not the question I asked. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. What was the question you asked? And she goes, how did you do that? I said, do what? And she said, you asked the question I was going to ask you, but I asked you a different question, but you still answered the question I had on my mind. How did you know what was on my mind? I said, I don't know. I just tune into people. I like tuning in. I like being really focused on people. And I guess I picked up on that question. And then somebody in the audience yelled out, Kirk is an empath. I was like, what's an empath? And they all started laughing because I did not know what an empath was. And they said, you're an empath. And I was like, I am? They go, oh yeah, we've known this. Like half the audience already knew I was an empath. And I'm like, I don't even know what this thing is. And so they began to tell me during this seminar what an empath is. And I was like, okay, I just count myself as a Kirk. But I guess if you want to add empath to it, that's fine. But they're like, yeah. And I said, so what's an empath? And they go, well, it's a person who can perceive beyond what the person is actually talking about. Like you can sense people's thoughts and their feelings. Like you can deeply understand people. And I didn't realize I was an empath. But then I started studying it, like trying to figure out like, what is this? And it's like, oh my goodness, I have empath abilities. It's like, I didn't know that. But then it became really cool. At first, I thought it was kind of woo-woo, just kind of like, oh, weird, like science fictionist, but then after I started learning about it, it was like, wow, I guess I am an empath. That I care about the person so much that I tune in. And because I tune in so closely to them, I can find what's not working in their life. I can find that because I can tune into people. So I not only just listen to what they say, I can sense what they're what they're not saying, kind of pick up on the signal. And so for years, I was like, well, this is kind of different, to have this a gift of being able to do this. And I'm a normal guy. I'm not a weirdo. I always thought maybe an empath was like this very strange person. But the more people I've met that are empaths, it's like, no, we're very normal people. We just have a high sensibility, a high level of sensibility. And so this is what I call myself. I'm a hybrid coach. I'm a structured empath. Because empaths tend to be not structured. They tend to kind of go with the flow. And I've met empaths that are like that. Their offices are messy. Their houses are kind of like whatever. And their schedule is whatever. But then I meet some who are structured, meaning they're very organized. They're very structured in what they do. So I'm kind of like that. I'm a structured empath, meaning I like following structure and to a point. And then I also can be very intuitive when I'm coaching. So I like knowing the steps of change, but I also like customizing it to fit the person. I like knowing the steps of change and also how to customize it. To me, that's a hybrid coach. That you can do that. You can know the structure, but you also can customize it and not lose the integrity of what it takes to change mindset. Now, I really enjoy teaching empaths or hybrid coaches who like structure and are empaths. I love teaching them how to become a coach because I can speak their language and I understand them and they excel really fast. And so that's what I do now. What I do now, instead of doing live big seminars, what I do now is I do a lot of very, very focused training. And so this is what I do now is I coach people on how to become a hybrid coach, how to activate their empath side, and how to be a very well-structured coach. Because the more structured you are, the more credibility you have. That's just how it works. You want credibility? Be structured, be organized. And then if you can also have that intuitive side or that empath side, so you can perceive people or, be able to read them and what's going on with them, it makes coaching just an incredible experience. Like I wish I could coach you on how to become a coach like this. Because everybody's an empath at some level. But if you're a higher level empath, wow, you could do amazing work as a coach. If you're a beginner empath, you can always increase that. There's definitely exercises and techniques you can use to open that up so that you can become more intuitive. So it's really cool. It's really cool. Are you an empath? I don't know if you've ever looked at this. You got to go watch some of my YouTube videos about empath. Just look at all the different empath videos. I think there's about, there's like 6 or 7 or 8. I kind of lost track of all the different ones about empaths. But that's who I feel really drawn to work with and coach are people who want to be teachers or coaches. They have a particular group of people they feel drawn to serve, but they just don't know what to teach that will really make the difference. Really, really make the difference. And so that's what I really thrive on right now is being able to do that. So I don't know if you are an empath, but let me just kind of bring some things up here. Here's something that's funny. This is the dictionary version of empath. It says chiefly in science fiction. Don't you love that? It uses empath that it's only in science fiction. It's not. A person with a paranormal ability to apprehend the mental or emotional state of another individual. It's kind of a little extreme. I call it being in tune. Anyway, that's the dictionary version. And there it is right there again. But empathy is the ability most humans have to understand the way someone else is feeling. So everybody's an empath, unless you're a psychopath, a narcissist, or a sociopath, then you're pretty far away from empathy. People very high on the scale are known as empaths, and they take it to the next level. So empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another person has experienced from within their frame of reference. Not yours, theirs. It's like you're in their skin, like you're in their head. And the capacity to place oneself in another's position. It's really cool. And you can really be a fantastic teacher and coach if your empath side is higher, more highly activated. It's really, really cool. And so that's what I love about doing coaching is using the empath side to help people solve challenges and solve problems. Is it rare? Well, it's a rare gift, which makes them who they are. Empaths, the sense, the feelings of others as they make their own, which makes them great listeners and trouble solvers. So if you've ever noticed you have empath tendencies, you are a really good listener and a really good trouble solver, which that is highly needed in the world today because people's challenges are actually below the surface and they don't know how to find them. But if you have the empath ability, you can see beyond the surface and help them discover what they need to change in their mindset. So empaths have one rare trait that makes them even more powerful. These people are experts in human psychology. That's quite the amazing thing. In fact, I was invited in to teach a high-level psychology class, and I've never taken psychology in my whole entire life. I've never even read a book on psychology, but yet I got invited as a guest speaker to a psychology class to teach and to share. And people were like, "Where did you learn this?" I'm like, it just kind of comes to me. And it was really cool. I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was really cool. And so being an empath just really gives you that insight. Really, really, really good. Let me see if I have, I don't need to talk about that one. Toxic empathy. Toxic empathy is when a person over-identifies with someone else's feelings. This is where empaths get themselves in trouble, is when they over-identify with someone else's feelings and directly take them on as their own. This may leave you feeling drained and make you feel like you have no time left to take care of your own problems. Toxic empathy is when you don't just mirror other people's feelings, you absorb them. If you are doing this, you could be an empath and not even know it, and you're taking on other people's feelings as your own, and it literally is draining you. Super important that you recognize that the reason why you're draining is because you are drained is because you don't know you're an empath and you don't know how this works. And I can help you with that. And it's also it'd be wise for you to start looking up and reading things about empath. Now, it can get kind of weird, so don't go off the deep end when you're looking about with the empath work. Just stay in the safe zone about it. There's some weird stuff out there, so be careful with that. But let me just show you a couple of things here about being an empath. So underneath people's skin, they have thoughts and feelings. Thoughts and feelings. Those thoughts and feelings come out of the body and they fill up a person's personal space. And so every person's personal space is full of that person's thoughts and feelings. Thoughts and feelings don't just stay under the skin. They come out of the skin and they literally create this space around them, which is their personal space. That's why it's offensive when somebody enters your personal space, because that's actually your feelings is around your body. That's why it feels weird when people step into your space, because that's where your thoughts and feelings are, not only inside your body, but also around your body. So all of this is around you, and that creates your personal space. Now, all these thoughts and feelings, your thoughts is information. Your feelings are information. So all of this together collectively, we call information. That information about you doesn't just stay inside your personal space. It also comes out from your personal space. So it's in your personal space and it goes beyond your personal space. So that's called information. And empaths tune into this information. So everybody has personal space, and inside that personal space, there is information. If you were to get close to somebody, you could actually pick up on information about that person if you're standing close to them, if you're being in tune with the person. And so what I'm showing you here is about the information. So that information can be tuned into, just like tuning into a radio station. If you took two radios and you put them on the same channel, you could talk back and forth, right? You could hear what the other person is saying if you're on the same frequency. Same thing with your cell phones. If you call somebody on a particular number, you're now on that number, which is a particular number, and you can talk to them. You can listen to them. The same thing happens when you're with somebody and you're an empath. Their information you can tune into, like they're a phone number, or if they're a radio station, you can tune into it. And so some people have a high level sense ability and some people have a low sensibility. But if you ever wanted to increase that, you would be able to tune in to other people's information. And the reason why this is amazing is because you could help them solve problems. Now, could you like manipulate people with that? Of course, you could always be evil. But just to remind you, all evil people go to live with the devil after they die. So don't be evil with this information. But people who are really good at being an empath can help people solve problems that they've faced with all their life, or difficulties in their business, or difficulties in their relationships, because empaths can see or read into that information. And when you're a really good empath at this, you have lots of different ways that you pick up information from people through their words, their thoughts, their tone, their energy, their body language, their behavior, and their results. That's lots of information to learn about a person, which makes you a fantastic coach because you can pick up on all this information. But the part you need to be able to practice, though, is how you interpret that information. And that's where training and coaching on how to do that would be really good for you, so that you could use your empath gift to help people and be really good at interpreting it so you could help people solve problems. Because that's what we're here to do, is to serve people, help people. We feel like we're contributing, we're doing good, making good things happen for people. So your gift that you have that's inside you, because you were attracted to this webinar and you're here listening to me, I really believe that your gift is meant to help other people. And I really believe that you actually are meant to be a teacher, or maybe you already are a teacher. Maybe you already are a coach. Maybe you've already been doing this for a while, but either way, I want to help you become even better at what you're doing, because I love this. I mean, this is like 24/7 for me. It's just my thing. It's not work for me. It's way beyond a career, a job, or work. This is like my purpose is to help you become the best teacher, the best coach you could ever be. You could ever be. It's cool, huh? I think it's cool. I think this kind of work is really, really cool. So if you are an empath, I got a couple warnings for you though. Be careful, because if you're around electronics or any high level of energy, it can drain your energy. If you're around a bunch of people for long periods of time, it can also drain you. Empaths need time to recharge, and empaths do great being by themselves. Give them time to be by themselves to recharge, to kind of collect their thoughts. Empaths also do really well going out into nature, being next to trees, mountains, water, ponds, animals are all great ways to be able to recharge your battery because power lines, high density areas, lots of traffic, or jets overhead can really rattle your energy because of your high level of sensibility. Being sensitive is not a weakness. It's a form of the level that you can be in tune with people. So it's not a bad thing as long as you manage it. But please be careful and give yourself time to recharge. Usually empaths drain themselves and then they get sick and then they can't do anything. So once I learned that I need to recharge myself every day, I go for a walk up into the hills, or I go out in the grass, or go where there's trees. And so I have my 30-minute moment every day where I just get to be by myself and recharge. It's awesome. That's awesome. So let's say you were going to step into becoming a coach. You help other people solve problems. You help them with their relationships, help them get organized, help them build their self-esteem, help them stay on track, help them with their beliefs, their mindset. Lots of great things that you can do. And especially you're there to help them develop higher levels of success because you can help them solve their challenges. Many people are like this, trying to move forward, but you can help them get like this, more organized, more focused, because you have a way of being able to see people's lives and seeing what's wrong and what's kind of messed up in their mindset, because they probably picked that up somewhere along the way in their life, and you can help them straighten that out. Now, what I like to express to people who want to become a coach or want to become a better coach, is to think about this and go, what if you could do this full time? What if you actually decided, like, you know what? I want to provide a great service, and I also want to be able to do an exchange with people, like have a business. Would that be cool to do that? That you could do this full time? You could actually make this a career, or you could make it your purpose or your mission, however you want to see it. But if you need to have an income, what if you could do this full time? What would that be like? Like, you actually get to do what you would love to do, and it also takes care of your needs. That would be amazing. They're happy, you're happy, their life gets better, your life gets better. It's like a fair experience. I think that's amazing. And what I like to tell empaths is say, hey, if you decided to do this, you really could generate $150 an hour doing what you love. You could be meeting with people in person if you feel comfortable with that, or you could be meeting with people, through Zoom or through phone calls to be able to coach people. And if you've never, ever, ever coached before, like if you've never, ever done that before, it's okay. I can teach you how to do that. That's what I love to do. I love to teach people the coaching process. Like, what are the steps? What are the necessary steps in the coaching process to be able to move a person forward? I can teach you how to manage your time during a coaching appointment. Like, what would that look like? So there's so many good things that I've learned along the way. And if you're willing to use your gift to serve others, it's okay to have that be a business. I had somebody ask me the other day, they said, don't you feel bad charging people for a gift that God gave you? I said, hold on, let me understand the question. You're saying that I should feel bad for the gift that God gave me to be able to bless other people's lives and to bless my family's life. So like, that's supposed to be bad. And they said, no, you're charging money for it. And I said, wow. I said, landscapers charge for their services. And that's a gift that God gave them of how to turn a yard into looking beautiful. That's a gift. And they say, well, that's a gift and a skill. And I go, well, what I have is a skill and a gift. So landscapers get paid. Should we go tell them that they should feel bad about that? And I said, what about authors who write books? Are they not inspired? And doesn't inspiration come from God? Should we tell all authors that they should feel bad for selling their books? What about home designers? What about people who start schools? Why are they charging money? So I start going through all these examples and they go, okay, that's fine. Like all of a sudden they were judging me because I was looking for a way to help people and also to be able to take care of my family. And God helped me discover my gift. I think it's cool that God has given you a gift to use. You have a gift to use. I mean, we could go through so many people in so many different ways that people are using their gifts and they're getting paid for it. What a cool blessing is that? What a cool experience is that? Now, I think what happens is there are some people who are inspired of what to do to take care of their family. They're inspired to take care of their family. Like they actually are praying. They're praying and they're saying, God, can you help us? And so God gives them an inspiration and says, go help people and ask for compensation. And in their subconscious, it says, you can't be paid for something God gave you. And so then this person stays broke. I see it happen all the time. People who are inspired and have amazing gifts and talents, but they got some weird mindset around asking for compensation. It's like they just can't do it because something got in their head and made it weird. And so they don't ask for compensation. And so they're broke. They're late on their house payments. They can't pay their bills. They can't buy food. They're in debt. And then they pray and they keep asking, God, please help me. And God goes, I did. So then the person avoids the inspiration and just continues to struggle. Do you know of anybody like that? Is it you? Is that you that's doing that? Where you're praying, wishing you could pay off that loan, wishing you could buy a new refrigerator, wishing you had funds to do things, and you have a special gift and talent you could serve people with, and God gave it to you, and your own brain is blocking you. I've had people actually argue with me and say, I can't use what God gave me. And I was like, why? And they go, you just can't do that. And I go, why? And they couldn't explain it. And so they just went on being miserable and broke. And it was like, okay, you can't change that person. But all these other people in the world who are being inspired and they follow their inspirations. Painters are inspired with their paintings and they sell those paintings. Some for very affordable, some of them are super pricey. Sculptors, painters, architects, so many people who are blessed with incredible gifts that are using them. Are you using the gifts that you've been given? It could be that the gift you've been given, the inspiration you've been given, is an answer to your financial problems. It could be. The very thing you're being inspired to do could be an answer to your financial problems. Now, I'm not saying you price yourself in a way that, rips people off. No, you don't rip people off. You do a great service to where the people you work with, the people you coach are super happy and they refer people to you. They're like so tickled about what you do. And I get it. You probably had a bad experience with a salesperson or a bad experience with something you bought and you vowed you're never going to be a salesperson. You're never going to sell a product or service. And then so you set your mindset to limit yourself. of what you could do. I only bring this up because it might be you who's doing this. So when you're searching for answers of what to do to solve your financial challenges, I bet you there's inspiration sitting right there in your head that would solve it. I bet you it's there. I'm just going to say it because I've seen so many people who finally went, okay, I'm going to do it. And then their life completely changes. And they change a lot of people's lives. It's incredible. It's incredible. So I'm not poking at you. I'm just bringing it up and putting it on the table to say, maybe this could be a big deal for you. Because, as a coach, there's a simple way to coach. There's a more complex way to coach. I mean, there's all different ways to approach this, but you can learn how to do this. You could get organized and you could earn that extra $1,000 a month, that extra $5,000 a month. You can determine whatever amount you want, depending on how many people you want to work with. If you've ever thought about teaching, get into coaching. I've had the beautiful opportunity to coach people all over the world, different countries, and it's awesome. It's amazing how in the world today, you can reach out and be connected to people anywhere. If they're on an island, no matter what country they're in, as long as they have internet, you are having a conversation and you are coaching. You and your gift is needed. You and your gift is needed. But why am I having this conversation with you? Okay. Things are getting weird in the world. Grocery stores, food supply lines. We can just go through these clips of news, all of the stuff going on in the world. And what's it doing to the people? It's getting in their head. What's going on in the world is getting inside people. And they don't know how to manage it. They need help. All kinds of people, all different levels of people. The kids, the teenagers, people who are extremely successful, people that are wealthy, people that are middle class, people that are struggling, all kinds of people, it's getting in their head. And they're looking for coaches. All up and down, all different levels. They're struggling. And they don't know what to do with their head because nobody taught them and they don't know where to look. They don't know who to talk to. And you could be that person. And it's not just the adults. You know this. It's happening to the kids. It's messing with their heads. Really messing with their heads. And they need help. And are you going to just sit around and watch it happen? Or are you going to do something? I say you do something. Do something. If anything happens from this conversation tonight, you care enough to do something. Do something. Talk to a neighbor, talk to a friend, talk to the youth that live around you. Do something to help them. Post on social media, uplifting thoughts. Do something. And if you want to do more, like you want to get organized, you want to be like, I want to coach teenagers, I want to coach women, I want to coach men, I want to coach entrepreneurs, then get into this. Learn the mindset. Learn what it is, because people are heading down. They're heading down. I'm not the only one who's ever got close to hitting rock bottom. All it takes is a couple times for things to go bad, and then you could end up clear at the bottom. People are thinking about suicide way more than what they used to. People today are a lot closer to suicide than you really actually understand. As long as we just become, like we avoid it, like, oh, I just don't want to deal with that. We can help people like this with their thoughts, with their feelings. We can help them. We don't have to just sit at home and do nothing. We could be doing webinars. You could do a webinar. You could do an Instagram live, a Facebook live. You could open up a YouTube channel. You could start making videos. Do something. Help. And if you want to get organized so that you can be very structured as a coach, then I can train you. I can help you do this so we can get people heading up this direction. That's where I want people to go. I want people to be in the green, not the red. It's like, get them going. Empower them to understand themselves. I love it when people turn around, when they make a change. And if you're like that and you're like, okay, Kirk, you got me on this one. I have a gift and I'm not using it. I'm completely avoiding it, Kirk. I want to put it in place. I want to get after this. Well, I've been teaching classes for 17 years. I've developed over 40 different programs. I know how to build curriculum. I know how to organize a coaching program. I've taken all my experience and I've poured it into teaching people how to become their very own life coach. And it's a big deal. And the reason why there's so many people stepping into life coaching right now is because there's such a demand. There's not enough good coaches. We need people like you. And a person like you that can get trained on mindset and really understand it at a deep level and then activate your empath side, your intuitive side. Boy, you could become a hybrid coach, a structured empath. So I put together this brand new program. When I say brand new, it's been going on for a while. It's been going on for what, a year and some now, but it's still brand new to me because it's so cool. But I built this program specifically to be able to train individuals on how to become a coach and have the resources and have the training in their fingertips to be able to learn how to become the greatest coach they could ever become and to be able to open up that empath gift side. We've built an online site with training, me sharing all my coaching secrets, how I've coached in appointments, what I do, why I do it, how things work, my steps all along the way. I even built a coaching program that you can use. Like, you don't even have to build your own coaching program. I built one for you that comes with this coach fast track training. You get a coaching program, you get an online training that has like over 4.5 months of very specific step-by-step training in it. Incredible training. You also, there's a portion that you can do the Done With You program where we actually work with you to build your program. If you wanted to build your own custom program, my team will help. We have all the templates, all the system to be able to do that. You can have your own custom program if you want to go that way. It's beautiful. And of course, I'm going to teach you how to do this, how to teach the individual, how to coach the individual to get themselves pulled back together. Instead of being fragmented, help them become organized. The coaching process. And most importantly, this right here. Because if you don't understand the problem, what it really is, then none of this really works. And that's what you'll get from me is I have dove deep to understanding what the problem really is that needs to be fixed inside a person's mindset so that you'll understand the problem, the process, and the practice. It's so cool. It is so awesome. So if you've ever thought about this, this is what we need to do. We get to have a conversation. We get to have a conversation. And when I say have a conversation, that means you're interested in becoming or learning about coaching. And you would like to know more about this Coach Fast Track program. And I want to tell you about it, all the details about it. And so this is what you do. What you do is you go to or type this in 3ke.2/fast track. And when you go to that, there's going to be a website that's going to talk about the Coach Fast Track program. And anywhere on the page, you're going to see an orange button. Click that orange button and it'll take you to a questionnaire And then you're going to be taken to my calendar. Go to the calendar and book an appointment. Book an appointment. And so what that appointment will do is it'll schedule a phone call for you and I to talk. But only book an appointment if you really are serious about wanting to become a fantastic life coach. And maybe you're already coaching and you want to upgrade your skills. I can coach you on that. And I'll give you all the details on the phone call so that way you can make a decision from all those details. I'm not going to give you all the details here because it would take another hour to do that. So book a call with me. And if my schedule books up, if it gets packed, then you will be talking to one of my team members. But I take the first handful of calls because I like to talk to people. And so if you book your call soon, there's a really good chance you're going to be able to have a chat with me. And let's talk about where you're going with your gift and talent. And I'll give you all the details about the Coach Fast Track program. So that way you can make a decision if this is the program for you. Because I want you to have all the details so that way you can really make an educated decision. It's not a pressure conversation. There's no pressure in it. It's mainly to have a conversation, see where you're at, see if you're qualified, then give you all the details. But if you would like to chat with me, you need to go here as soon as possible and book that call. There's some openings for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. There's some openings for tomorrow. And then there's also some openings on Tuesday and Wednesday. I know that I'm going to be jumping in and having those conversations. So I'd love to talk to you about where you're at and what you're doing. But please, again, only book a call with me if you really are serious about stepping into learning how to be a life coach. If you book the call to just chit chat with me, it's going to be a short conversation because that's not the intention of this. It's not to talk about fishing stories, even though I wish we could. We need to get down to business and talk about you and your purpose and your mission. So go book a call. You can scan this code or go directly to this site and then just find the orange button and it'll take you to the questionnaire and then it'll take you to the calendar, which would be super cool. Now, if you ever feel like you're like behind, like, oh, there's already too many people who are a life coach. No, there's not. Anytime you're driving down the freeway, look behind you. There's all kinds of people who are behind you. If you're only looking forward while you're on the freeway, you're going to feel like you're behind. But if you turn around and look, there's a lot of people behind you who don't know what you know. They don't know. There's lots of people to teach. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands and millions and millions and millions of people who don't understand this. The awakening is happening right now. The awakening is happening right now. And to learn coaching skills right now puts you right in the awakening as it's happening. Over the next 2 years, you're going to see an explosion of interest in personal development because people have tried everything. They have tried everything. They've tried books. They've tried videos. They've tried seminars. They've tried workshops. But now what people want is someone to talk to. They want somebody to personally help them. And that's what's coming, is a huge explosion of people who want someone to talk to. So get trained, get ready so that you're prepared to be there to talk one-on-one with those people. Or if you want to do group coaching, you can do group coaching. And there's so many different ways to do coaching. But if you're always looking forward on the freeway like this, it's going to feel like you're always behind. But you turn around, you're way far ahead of a lot of people. And you know a lot. You know a lot more than what you realize. So when let's say you do get into the Coach Fast Track program, you have my custom designed coaching program to use. You have me coaching you. You have the online training site to follow. Like you just can't fail. The only way you could fail is if you just sit on the couch and do nothing. That's the only way you're going to fail, because this is like the best program we've ever written in these 17 years. I love it. I'm super happy with it, very tickled with it. People are getting great results from it. And it's your turn. And that's why we're talking here tonight. So I could talk to you. Nobody else but you. So now, what do you got to deal with? Let me just go back to this slide. This is what you get to deal with. Are you ready to act on these inspirations? You were inspired to come listen to this webinar. You were inspired to click on it. You're still here. You're being inspired. I can help you get through this wall. I can help you become a great coach. And so when you go to bed at night, you can feel really good because you're contributing. You're making a difference. No more are you stuck behind some subconscious mindset wall. You're doing it. That's what matters, is that you're doing it. That's what I hope for you, is that you get to live your life purpose. You get to live it instead of just thinking about it. Let's do something. Let's do something. So go here, 3ke.2/fast track, fill out the questionnaire, choose a date. Let's jump on a call. Let's find out where you're at, what you're doing. And then I'll give you all the details about the Coach Fast Track program, and you can make a decision from that. And I will say that the first five people who book a call, I'm going to give you a $1,000 scholarship that you can apply to the Coach Fast Track program, but it's for the first five people. The first five people. So if you're one of the first five people I talk to, I will tell you what number you are. And if you're one of the first five people, I will honor that $1,000 scholarship that we will directly apply to the Coach Fast Track program. It just saved you $1,000 by acting promptly and getting past your mind block and just going, I'm doing this. Let's get after this. Let's go. Right? So love it. So first five people, I'll apply $1,000 scholarship that we'll take directly off the tuition. And I'll give you all those details on the call. Super good. I know, it's awesome. Well, I hope I get to work with you. I really do. I hope I get to share with you because it'll make such a huge difference in what is going on. So before you go, I want to share with you one mindset technique that makes a really big difference in the progress of a person in getting an alignment on the inside. Of all the places that are getting hammered on people, one that is very sneaky is the internal language or the internal dialogue. And it's inside of a person's head. There's a conversation that's going on. And this internal conversation, this internal dialogue tends to be pessimistic, tends to be degrading. That degrading conversation, that pessimistic conversation slowly eats away at a person. So when you're around people that you have a connection with, right? You have a relationship with them. When you're around people, ask them, hey, what's going on inside your head? What do you say to yourself inside your head? Like, ask people. You'll see them look at you like, you want to know? Now, 9 out of 10 people are not going to tell you because they're going to be like, that would be terrible to tell somebody what's actually going on inside their head, because usually it's pessimistic and degrading. But what you're doing is you're pointing it out that you are conscious that internal dialogue is a real thing. Now, don't demand the person to tell you what they're thinking or what's going on inside their head. Instead, take a moment and say to them, hey, get involved with the discussion inside your head and argue against anything that is hurtful. It shocks people. It shocks people. When I do that to people, they're just like, how do you know about this? And I tell them, I go, everybody's wrestling with it, but nobody's talking about it. They all wrestle with it, but they don't talk about it because they think they're the only one. But everybody has it going on. They just don't talk about it. But bring it up. Anytime you're around people that you really care about, this is siblings, your own kids, your own spouse, your friends, your buddies, your neighbors that you care about, anybody, just say, hey, what's going on inside your head? What's going on inside your internal dialogue? You keeping track of that? And it's going to shock them. And then the next thing you say is, hey, whatever's going on inside your head that's degrading or pessimistic, argue against that. Speak up about it. Because here's the truth. Most people just let their mind go wherever it's going. It's just wandering. It's like driving down the road without your hands on the steering wheel. It's reckless. Most people are reckless inside their head. There's no hands on the steering wheel. There's no driving the thinking. It's just hands off and let it just go all over the road. And it causes problems. When you don't have your hands on your mind and what it's thinking, it will end up in a wreck. And you will crash into somebody. And it will cause problems. So with friends, family, siblings, spouse, people around you, speak up about it and tell them about this. Hey, get in there, argue with it, change the direction of thinking. Don't let it just go wherever it's going. You have to do something. Help them. And if you have kids, talk to your kids. Because inside a kid's head, it's brutal. It's really negative. And they would never tell you what's going on inside their head because they would feel like you'd be upset with them. But kids need help. They need help. They need someone to understand them that will listen to them and help them understand what to do inside their head and talk to them and let them know that they can talk back to those voices inside their head. And tell them that they can choose what to think. Don't just let their mind wander all over the place. Get involved. If we don't help each other out, who is? Right? Right. Cool. Well, I hope I get a chance to talk to you. As long as you are ready and willing to get going as a coach, and book a call, and we'll talk here soon. Give you all the details, then you can make a decision. And again, if you're one of the first 5, there's a $1,000 scholarship that is reserved for the first 5. After that, there is no $1,000 scholarship. So you got to act on that soon, because I know that the appointments fill up pretty quick. So super cool to be with you. Thank you for allowing me to share with you here tonight. Of all the things that we've talked about here tonight, I'm going to go back to the screen one more time and just say, I know your head is full of inspired ideas. I know it, and you know it. It's your answers to what's going on. It's your answers. And I'm here to help you. All right, super cool. Okay, you guys have a good night. Thank you for showing up. I will see you again in a couple weeks. I usually do these about every 3 to 4 weeks. And I hope you enjoyed the content here tonight, the awareness, the aha. This is what I'm all about. This is what I stand for. And I am going to continue to do this as long as I live, because I just can't sit on the sidelines watching. So get involved and by standing up and talking about what you believe and what you know, so that we can make a difference in other people's lives. All right. You guys are awesome. Thank you for showing up. Love you guys. Thanks. Bye.